And we are live, Spooky.
Back in action.
Back in action.
There we go.
What episode is this? Do you know?
I really don't know. I know
Just yell
16.
from the back. Gilly will
16.
tell us.
Okay. No, I know it's a good one though.
Yes. We got a real good one. Tell us what we're going on here, brother.
So we have Woody here, Woody
Cheers.
Hoffer from Planting Seeds and other various projects that he's involved in, and also we have George Rose here, who is painting some murals
Nice.
in town for us for Planting Seeds.
Yes, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming down.
For sure.
Like we were saying before, I've definitely known about a lot of the stuff that you've done, Woody. We've just not met. So
Yeah,
I know
for sure.
TJ was one that I think I first talked to TJ about you.
Yeah, TJ and I go back. I'm gonna date myself, but about 25, 6, 7
Nice.
years.
Yeah,
Probably
long
more.
time. Long time.
Yeah.
So tell us about Planting Seeds and what you guys are doing here in Monroe.
Oh man. So Planting Seeds started officially about 2 years ago. It actually started with kind of a passion project. So, for those that don't know, I grew up here in Monroe, over in the Waterloo neighborhood, and for my entire childhood, my family was quite poor, but I loved playing basketball, and so I couldn't afford to go to the YMCA, which is on the west side of town, and so the only place to play basketball inside was at the community center. And so my parents would drop me off at the center, and I would. It's kind of through my formidable years, through basketball, but then just learning about life in general. Uh, Eventually moved away to college, lived in New York City for a handful of years, and then when I moved home, I joined the advisory council for the community center, just to kind of help shape what's happening there and kind of make an impact in the community. So about 2 years ago, the city did a renovation to the community center, put down a new gym floor, which looked amazing, but didn't touch the gym at all in any other way, shape, or form. And and I asked what we were doing because we weren't providing a space that was inspiring to our young people. It wasn't something that they could be proud of, and for many of the kids in the neighborhood, like, that was their home away from home. And so I spoke with Stephanie Kasperzak from MCOP, and started to discuss with her what we could do to improve it. And so the very first project, we collaborated with Mike Hahn, who is an artist out of Detroit, and completely revamped the walls, about 4,200 square feet of his mural work, which is inspired kind of by Keith Haring. It's a black and white line work style piece, and it went over really well. And then I thought I was done. And then a few months later, Stephanie was like, "Hey, you want to do something else?" And so I said, "Yeah, I can create a vision for anything. I just need help in getting the funding." And so from that point forward, Planting Seeds started. And the idea about planting the seeds, obviously, the focus of it was in the Orchard neighborhood. So a little bit of a play on words with that, but also really the emphasis of Planting Seeds is really to do just that, right? Like we're creating something that I hope inspires a bit of a creative revitalization in our community, but even more than that, something that inspires our young people moving forward. Many of the young people in our community don't get the opportunity to even go to Detroit or even go to Toledo to see some of the culture there, either at the Toledo Museum of Art or the DIA. And so instead of them having to go somewhere else to see it, let's bring it to them.
I like that.
And yeah, and so thankfully, I've been very fortunate. I've yet to reach out to an artist and ask them to come here and have any of them say no. And so George, who's here with us, has come from the furthest away.
Yes, very cool too. Tell us where are you from? Because I know, but I just was shocked when they said that. I said, "Wow, that's a long ways away."
Yeah, so I'm from Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne, Australia. Wow, how long a flight is that?
My flight was 28 hours.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah.
I whine about the 4 and 5 hour ones. I can't even imagine.
Whine about being in traffic. Can you imagine?
No,
God.
Woody
28 hours.
collected me from the airport, and I was pretty delirious by that point. So
What was the route? Like where?
I Melbourne to Sydney, Sydney to LAX, LAX to Chicago, and then Chicago to here.
LAX can get you anywhere, boy.
I think, I think you have to fly in through LAX all the time. Like,
Right.
yeah, I generally always.
That's
do.
cool.
Yeah, from your
It's like
side
the
of
main
Earth,
hub.
you definitely do. Yeah.
Main
Yeah.
hub. Just to
Yeah,
go
LAX is
out.
awesome. You got to shout out to LAX.
Yeah, I feel like anytime we go west beyond the coast, you got to go to LAX. If you're going to Hawaii, if you're going, anywhere beyond Hawaii, LAX is your last stopping point.
So is this your first time here in a while, or is this your first trip, or?
No, I generally try and escape the winters down under, and so I come to the northern hemisphere, and I've been to the States a few times. But this is the second time to Michigan,
Nice.
which is nice. I'd never been to Monroe
Congratulations.
before. Thank you so much.
Nice.
So I painted at another festival in Jackson a couple of years ago, and then now I'm in beautiful Monroe.
Nice.
How cool is that we got someone from so far away that
Yeah.
reach? I just love that.
How did you guys pair up? Like how did
do
you
you
land
know
the
her?
choice? you know?
So
I'm gonna put you on the
I'm
spot.
pretty sure that I saw George's work from the festival that was in Jackson. It's called Bright Walls. They've done an amazing festival out there, and Jackson's not so different from Monroe. It's a little bit larger, maybe, but demographically, it's a lot alike. So there's multiple paths that we take in order to get murals done here. One of which, in the path that we took with George, is Reese LeBuddy reached out to me. Who he's the I'll say general manager. He's the son of the owners of Logan Charles Salon, and he reached out to me last summer after seeing the Tiffany's Pizza mural, and he said, "Well, what do we got to do to get one in our building?" And so I started having conversations with them back then. Kind of got an understanding a little bit for what they were looking for. They obviously wanted something that was gonna, blow people away when they saw it. That was bright. That was gonna stand out. And so I sat down with them. I offered them up about 5 or 6 different artists, one of them being George. And right away, they're like, yeah, we want her. And so I'm like, all right. So, she's from Australia. It might be a long shot, but let me see what I can do. And
How far back was this?
oh, man, this was probably in like December, November, maybe.
It was a while.
A lot
been
of
a long
planning
time,
then.
yeah.
It
Huh?
feels like
a lot of
there was
planning went
a
into
long-
making
yeah.
sure
6 months or
you were able
so.
to do this.
Yeah. Well, and George is very humble, but she is also one of the top street mural artists like in the world. And so as you
That's
might
crazy.
expect,
Oh, that's awesome.
and she doesn't have a team. I'll say that really. So as you might expect, getting an email back from her,
I'm so
being like
sorry.
14 hours different
Mhm.
from us, was, we played
Sorry.
tag quite a
Right.
bit. So
Yeah.
You have been getting some teamwork in though, right? With,
Oh, now.
with Presley.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Presley.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
How's
a
that been
superstar.
going for you?
Pardon? How's it?
How's that been going?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
She's a superstar. Like honestly, and I don't say that lightly about all assistants
Mhm.
because not everyone can paint, surprisingly enough. But
Right.
Presley's amazing. She's like, sped up the process heaps and just it's a delight to work with.
That's great.
It's you always want to be working with super nice people and people you get along with and really vibe with. So that's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
how long are you here for this time around?
I leave on Sunday, so I think I'm here for like 10 days total.
10 days.
Nice.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get to eat anything good while you've been here?
Actually, Woody knows this. I'm obsessed with Misties.
Okay. Yeah, because you're vegan, right?
I'm veggie, but it's delicious and it's literally right next to my wall. So I
Yes.
just have to rock off the wall and wander over there and get some food. So
Missy's awesome. So that's very cool.
I feel like I need to try some more things because everyone's suggesting all these different places to me, but I just keep going back there. It's just too easy.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
She's had
I'm trying everything
she's
off
done
the menu.
Misty's, she's done Monica's Donuts,
Oh
Agua
yeah.
Dolce, and then today for lunch we had Erie bread.
Okay.
Oh, Erie bread
Um,
slapping.
Friday night we'll do Amaya's.
Mary brought me stuff from the bakeries.
Oh yeah. Cakes by Stephanie.
Yeah. That
So
was
we spoke with
insane.
Amaya's, of course. That's one of our sponsors. We'll get to that in a second. But we spoke to them at Amaya's today, and we told them you were coming, and we were having you on the show. So Amaya's actually sent some food over for us, and when we're done, it'll be how on the table for
Perfect.
us. So,
Perfect.
and they did have some vegan options if you're inclined that way. I just wasn't sure what you'd eat. I think one of them was a mushroom taco, and another
Oh,
one was
sure.
a tofu.
Cool.
So if be a good time.
Did you eat shrimp or fish? Or
I do actually
Okay,
eat fish,
perfect,
so
perfect.
veggie, but
Great.
it's a technically
Yeah.
pescatarian. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Something new to try,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So can we talk about the art, talk
Mm.
about the mural itself? Like how did that become about? Like how did you guys land on that piece and what does it mean?
Do you want me to take this or you
Yeah,
want to?
yeah. Yeah, you're the artist.
Oh, sure. So I think initially, I don't even remember if I sent over a portfolio or anything. Or we organized to have a chat like via Zoom, and just initially just to go over the process of like how I usually work and sort of expectations of what it is. And you literally had no feedback or brief. Like they were just like, great, which is so unusual. So I just kind of was like, well, usually what I do is I do a little bit of research on the area and I use endemic botanicals. And because when I travel, I like to kind of insert a little bit of Australian botanics in it as well. And then we talked about at the salon, they have an Australian brand called Kevin Murphy. So it tied in quite nicely there. And so I just went away and researched what botanicals were from the region and came across the Michigan monkey flower spider orchids from Canberra. So Michigan monkey flower, which is this little bright yellow botanical that's only found in Michigan State. And then I also used an inland pigface, which is an endemic botanical from Australia. And endemic just means it's only found in that region and nowhere else. And it's
So
like
2 flowers only found one here, one there.
yeah. So
That's incredible.
I just,
For real.
I want to say I've never heard of a
deep.
Michigan monkey flower.
no,
Yeah,
they're pretty rare as far as I
Okay.
could tell. But I just really liked them, and I kind of wanted to tie in that whole like animal like name kind of link as well because you're the inland pig face, and I
Got
was
me as
just
soon
like,
as you said it. I thought, wow,
yeah, I
that's
was like,
cool.
yeah, I feel like these two belong together. It's like on a wall, which is nice. And so I worked up a design and sent through a couple of different options as far as colors went. The guys gave me some feedback. I made some changes. And then, there was a couple of like last minute requests, and I was like, yep, sure. As mainly just like punch up the colors, and I was like, okay.
Oh, that's great. I mean, we're happy to have you. I mean, especially for planting seeds too. Is
Oh, no.
definitely
It's
like
a pleasure.
this is
to
history
be
in the
here.
making right here. You know,
Yeah.
definitely.
It is.
All
It is.
the
I mean,
artists
I
that you
think-
have too. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys can support this. In our lifetime, Monroe has never had public art,
Right.
Of any kind. And for us to do by the end of the summer, we'll have 13 pieces of large scale public art over 2 years. And so to have that, and then we'll see where we go moving forward. But that's pretty significant. And even beyond that, this isn't spoken about ever in the newspaper, doesn't really get spoken about publicly. But there's always been an emphasis since this program started on making sure that we are bringing in a very diverse roster of artists. So not only traveling from distances, obviously George is from Australia. The artists that are working over at Fedco right now are from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. The artist that's working at the community center right now is originally from London. And then we have, Anthony Skinner, who's actually from the Orchard East neighborhood, now lives in Lexington, Kentucky, is coming back tomorrow to do a piece at the Selma Rankins Gardens.
Very cool.
Ijania Cortez is from Detroit. And so last year, a lot of the artists were based in Detroit, but like Wheezy is from LA. Jake Dwyer is from Minneapolis. And so, we have a diverse roster of artists geographically, but also, I guess racially and sexual orientation. And, we kind of cover the gamut because for me, it's important that not only are we bringing world-class art here, but we're also bringing people here that represent our community as a whole. And, not being politically correct, we unfortunately get to see a lot of people who look like myself, like yourself in this community doing things. We get to see less women, and then we get to see even less people of color. We don't get the opportunity to amplify the people that are doing things here. So I wanted to take this opportunity to make sure that we're amplifying people so that, many of the young people in this community feel like they can relate to the people that are here. So it's much bigger. And when you hear me talk, oftentimes you'll hear me talk about purpose over publicity, right? Like I don't really care to be known at all. What I care about is the purpose for what we're doing things. And so that's always the root in the work that I'm doing.
Sounds amazing, man. I mean, what I already knew about you is amazing, and to sit here with you is great. So thanks again.
Literally, history in the making, though, is like just changing
huge
the perspective on life itself. For a new generation.
It's crazy. This morning, Lynn Riem, who works at the museum downtown, stopped out front when WTOL was filming George, and we were having a conversation, and she said the same thing. And so, coming from a historian, somebody who works at the historical museum, to say that, and then she went on to say, "I need you to send me everything that you have, documentation, so that we can start making an archive of what you're doing, because you're creating history." And so
It's amazing.
No,
man.
absolutely, for
It's
real.
crazy.
Like,
and I
that's
explained
crazy.
to her, I said, that's what, you know, you can
like
see
that
the
it's on the
shirt.
t-shirts.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what this shirt means, right? I think those of us that are from here know that Monroe does an amazing job in amplifying Custer and the battlefield and things that happened long before any of us were born. And they do a terrible job amplifying anything that actually is creating history right now.
Yeah.
So part of my goal was, I want to do something that that we're creating history today. So tomorrow, when we look back, we know that we created history, right? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, her piece is still going to be on that wall, right? And people will still be talking, back, in the future about what happened in the summer of 23 and the summer of 22.
That's
in
wild
this
to think
community.
too, is because it's gonna be here. It's not like you're just painting it and then when you leave, we just wash it away.
Yeah,
it's,
no.
it's staying here for a while.
That's
So
actually like the beauty of
it's pretty empowering.
this type of artwork is just like I get to go into communities and really like connect with them and then leave a piece and it becomes theirs. Like it's no longer mine anymore. I just hand it over to you guys and then that's it. It's yours. So
I feel like it's a pretty large scale operation that you took on too. I mean, this is something that you normally do.
yeah. I'm a full-time muralist, so I just travel around and paint walls.
Wow.
Whereabouts have you traveled?
I was
like
about
in
to ask the
the
same thing.
United States?
In the States? Okay. I have to try and remember everywhere. I've been to San Diego a few times. I was in Sand City last year, Florida, like New York. Where else?
What about other parts of the world? Where have you been that's real interesting that you've done your
I mean, I really liked Mexico because like Mexico is so far away from
Wow.
Australia and it's,
Yeah.
it's so different to my culture. I loved Taiwan. Taiwan was super cool
So
as
you've
well.
traveled a lot.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I've been
So tell them where you're going after this.
straight
Again,
after this.
Well, not straight after
Oh,
this,
the
but
summer?
the mural festivals that you're participating
Oh,
in
right.
this
Yeah,
summer,
yeah. So
that are like the top mural festivals in the world.
Wow.
yeah. So after this one, yeah. So I'll head. I go to Portland and then I go to Hawaii and then I go home and then I come back over to Europe and I'm doing Waterford walls, and then all caps, and then there's another one in France which is quite a lot smaller, and then I'll be going to probably the Street Art Museum in Amsterdam again.
Where is Waterford Walls?
In Ireland.
Oh,
In Ireland, yeah.
Yeah.
So Ireland, Waterford Walls.
Ireland.
All
nice.
caps is in Rotterdam,
Yeah.
in the Netherlands, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are like
Wow.
renowned
Oh,
festivals.
all caps is like, I don't know if it's the top, but it's up
It's
there.
one of the oldest. It's one
Yeah.
of the most established and
How
get a
long
lot
have
of
you been
writers.
painting?
Full time. I keep on thinking it's for about 8 years, but it's much longer than that. It's probably about 10 years that it like properly full time. But before that, I was also kind of like just doing artwork and that sort of stuff. So I've kind of always done it.
How did you make the transition, or what made you make the transition?
It was a slow process. So like I did design at university and then I did art school for like a year, and I sort of dabbled in murals. But then it just got more and more traction as time went on. And then when I moved down to Melbourne, that was when I really made the jump straight into like doing purely murals. Yeah. So it's a slow process. Like you start on smaller walls and you build your way up, and a lot of it's word of mouth initially. And obviously social media sort of helps in that regards. But
Right.
yeah.
How did COVID affect your work?
Oh my God.
Oh, I scared her.
Always, yeah.
Don't even have PTSD from it. It was the first time in my career that I actually had to physically stop. So I averaged being on the road every 2 weeks. I think I figured out. So that meant that like, even though I'd be in a place for like 1 month, then I'd be somewhere else for a weekend, and then I'd travel around. And so it was like it averaged I was on a plane every 2 weeks for like 7 years. So it was physically painful to stop, like, because I just was so used to like every 2 weeks I'd be like, well, I have the itch. I gotta go again. I'm just about to leave. And then because I was essentially put into a cage and Melbourne had some of the longest lockdowns, I think, globally out of anywhere. And
Wow.
yeah, so it was horrible.
Yeah.
I ended up painting the wall on the side of my house that I was living in at the time. My landlord was like, "Yeah, go for gold." It was great. Like, I
Oh,
love him. Shout out to Ian.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, and there was so Seawalls also ran like a festival called Home, where they got a heap of artists internationally to paint and live stream their painting of like their homes or like, you know,
Awesome.
their walls as well.
Nice.
So like people still, it was a nice to connect to everyone in that way, but it was really hard to not be traveling around and doing stuff.
So you say you have like a worldwide community, I guess, even amongst
Yeah.
yourself as well, like of other painters and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's a super connected little community. I mean, it's not that little, it's quite big.
Right.
But I mean, I think even if you don't know of someone, it's everyone kind of speaks the same language.
Right.
I guess it'd be like that in any kind of niche industry. You all connect.
Yeah, I'm
really
sure
easily,
even with
so-
film, you know, I see a guy with a camera. I'm like,
yeah,
hold up, wait,
you
you know,
totally
yeah.
like have a level that you connect with
Right.
them on. So
Exactly. Real quick before we wrap it up, let's talk about June 9th and some of the events that Planting Seeds is going to be hosting here. Is it the artist cipher?
No, that's not public.
Oh, oops. let's not talk about that. Oops. Apologize.
Jury will strike that from the record.
Right.
So
We can edit that out.
On June 17th at the Juneteenth celebration at the community center.
Okay.
Alex Lucio, who's a barber, a singer, and a DJ, is going to be DJing that event. Down at the ALCC. It's possible we may have an artist talk there as well. I haven't confirmed that yet, but that's a possibility. But later on, so most of these murals are happening kind of this week into the next week. Later on this summer, Presley Bergmoser, who's an artist that's from here, will be taking on. And she's been the super assistant for George. She's going to be taking on her own project over at Boyd Park with a handful of high school students. So
sweet.
She's kind of going to take on the role that George has been in with her, and then she's going to be mentoring the high school students.
See, just being passed down.
Yeah,
I love it.
Exactly. So it's working out really well.
That's great.
And then in the fall, some of you may see him walking around over the next few days, and then throughout the summer, we have James Dickerson, who's a photographer out of Toledo. He was here earlier today talking with George, and he is going to be documenting not only the murals, but also kind of people of Monroe and telling the story of, I'll say, this summer in Monroe through a pop-up exhibition that we're going to create that'll be housed downtown. And that's going to start probably end of August, beginning of September. Obviously, I'll put the dates out. And then along with that will be a series of either 3 or 4 kind of speaker series where I'm curating a small panel. It'll be like once a month. That first one will be the night that the gallery opens. James will be on there. I'm talking with a couple other photographers that I would like to get to join that panel.
Nice.
We'll have other panels with people like Rick Williams, who was the muralist who did the community ambulance building. He's also a crazy sneaker designer and a creative director, and like himself, Mama Soul, who's an amazing hip hop artist. So I'm talking with quite a few people to bring in to again kind of spark creativity and inspiration from others.
This is something that's not happening anywhere that I know. Even I'm downriver and I'm in the city a lot with the music videos and whatnot. And there's unless I'm not hip, but I don't think anyone's doing Planting Seeds.
No, not at all. And so that's what I'm trying to do, right? Like a lot of people will say around here, oh, there's nothing going on. There's nothing to do.
Where can they find? I don't mean to cut you off. Where can they find these pieces?
Where can I find the pieces?
Yeah, where can they find like the art if they want to just do a
little tour or something? So last year's, and I'll run through this really quick. Last year's murals were located inside the Arthur Lesau Community Center in the Sharing Gardens, right adjacent to the center, at Hellenberg Park Basketball Court, Tiffany's Pizza, Monroe Beer Cooler, and Orchard High School. This year we have Logan Charles Salon, where George is at, the outside, so the north side of the community center, the Selma Rankins Gardens, which is on the south side of the community center, Fedco, which is over in the kind of industrial park, Turnus and Detroit Ave, which you can actually see from I-75 South.
How big is that mural?
7,500 square feet. So it's almost the
Have you
largest in the
seen it
state.
yet?
Yeah, it's massive.
It's insane.
Wow.
It's so
It's
big.
insane.
If you thought hers is big,
Yeah. So how big is
Uh,
hers? Like in reference to
hers is
that?
about 2,200 square feet.
Wow.
So imagine twice as tall,
Yeah.
3 times as long.
Wow.
And then we have Trifecta Design. So Trifecta Design is formerly Monroe Industrial Supply, which is on Toledo Ave, but you can see the wall kind of sitting between Larson's and the gas station. So you'll be able to see that one from Telegraph. Presley will be at Boyd Park. And I think that's all of them for this year.
Yeah.
So, and then if you want to follow along and stay up on information on it, follow Planting Seeds on Instagram. So it's PLNTNGSEEDS on Instagram. And I try to keep that updated as much as possible. Right now, if you get on there and look at the stories, I'm sure you'll see some bloopers of George and all types of craziness that's going on.
Shout out to Chubbs too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh
Shout
my
out to
God.
Chubbs. Josh has
Yeah.
been
Chubbs is great.
filming some amazing drone footage.
Right.
Stelios and Dev
Yeah.
have been getting some good
Yeah.
stuff too.
The development group.
So yeah, we're gonna have a really awesome video when all this is done that we'll publish and send out to the community as
The
well.
coverage is crazy because even when I was out there, I had just left WTOLs out
Yeah.
there. Then you got some other photographers, even with Rick Williams.
Yep.
People were just coming, just snapping
Just pulling
pictures.
up,
I'm
yeah.
like, this is awesome. Like
I have to start
Please.
ignoring people.
one less project I got to do.
That's funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that's great. Plant Seeds, literally history in the making here in Monroe. You can't ask for more. Can't ask for better.
thanks.
We
guys.
appreciate everything
it.
that you guys are doing. We appreciate you traveling such a distance,
Oh,
coming,
no, it's a pleasure.
visiting
Thank you
Monroe
for
for
having
10
me.
days. How long is the mural going to take, real quick?
It should be done by Friday. That's the aim.
That's about 11 days.
End of day
8 days.
Friday, so just over a week.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not bad. Yeah, you started on Saturday, I think, last week.
Mhm.
Yeah,
not
so just about
bad.
a week.
I mean, that's
About a week.
good. Real
That's
quick,
nice.
let them know your socials. Let them know where they can find you, see your art. Instagram or
Instagram's probably best. It's George_Rose.
Okay,
Perfect.
here we go. And one more time for Planting Seeds.
Is Planting Seeds, PLNTNG seeds.
There we go.
On Instagram.
I mean, so yeah, you guys heard it here first. This is Pillar Talk. I'm Spooky. This is Ryan. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you again, Woody.
Thank you guys.